WEEI Late Night
on WEEI.
And streaming everywhere on the Odyssey app.
Sparked inbound. It's Tatum. Spins. Fires. Butter. The lead back up to 10. Tatum with 26.
Late night. WEEO. KJ. I'm so excited that I kind of like created a vowel there in WEEI. It's like an E, a U, and an I to make WEEI.
It's been 12 long years.
It's been a dozen years since the Celtics have been on that hunt for number 18. And that gets addressed in a couple of moments. When Tatum hit that shot, went up by 10, I thought that was ball game right there. When we got to 85 points, I was like, that's ball game. And then it just felt like Marcus Smart may just absolutely just let the air out of the entire balloon. I just chose not to scream, and I let my anxiety sit very quiet towards the end of that game. I don't fault Jimmy Butler for taking that three, trying to go up by one with that shot. You play to win the game, and if you saw what the Celtics were going through at that time, there wouldn't have been a guarantee that the Celtics would have made another shot, right? You would have put them in a situation where they'd been punched drunk and wouldn't have known what had happened. And next thing you know, the Heat are standing on the foul line, making more shots to extend that lead out. That's how close things would have turned in that game. So, but I felt like that was the ball game when Jason Tatum hit that side step three to put him up by 10. Let's go to Paul in Westfield, 617-779-7937. Thanks for calling late night. Always good to hear from you, my man.
Well, pardon me, KJ Nostradamus, I've come back. And listen, Bud, you were off by 1 point, just for one simple reality. For you to be off by 1 point on a series that is unprecedented in upsy-downsy, topsy-turvy, up by 20, lose by 20, how the hell did you do that? There's no way to predict what this crazy team's going to do.
It's just really believing that the Celtics, I believe that they would come out in Game 7 and just show every defensive card that they had in their arsenal, and that was going to keep the game very close to 100. So I figured that the Celtics would just get over 100, and they would keep Miami under 100. And I think the line was like 2.5 for the Celtics. I believe that they would actually win by about 4 or 5. So that's how I came up with 101-96.
And you know what? Based upon empirical logic, that makes perfectly and absolutely, positively, unequivocally sense. So I have a couple quick questions for you rather than talking. Sports profile Craig ripped him last night on National. After saying I love this team, however, if you fail to learn from the mistakes of the past, you're not going to have a very strong future. And I mean, let's just be real. We gave away an 11-point run in the last few minutes. Jimmy Butler went up, and if that shot went in, we end up losing. Derek Pirates of the Caribbean said on camera, what were you thinking? Well, I hope he misses. KJ, what are you thinking about this team's ability to take double-digit leads and blow it within 3 to 4 minutes as a term of a solid factor against a team like Golden State? That's my first question.
I think if you're going to handle this with Golden State, this is where you really lean on Al Horford. If you know that you have done something very advantageous, like get a 10-point lead on a great team, yeah, part of the intelligence is that you want to slow it down. You don't want to feel like you can just straight gun. You don't have Ray Allen out there, in the corner waiting to just drain more threes. But go to what's going to be the guarantee that Golden State's going to have the trouble stopping, and that's going to be the big man, Al Horford. This is where you even look at going to Rob Williams, where you know that Rob Williams is a capable free throw shooter. So even if he's going to the rim and he's getting fouled, I would like to see Rob Williams go to the basket with the ball a little higher versus having it around his hips, because he's getting stripped a lot that way. Is just, when he's going up with that ball, go up with it strong. When you receive that ball, your elbows are already bent and up and ready for the shot, because now it forces the referees to call the foul, and less likely for them to call a foul when you get stripped. So that's just something I would be aware of if you're getting 10-point leads. All right, your next question.
We saw it in the series, Strauss, House versus Derek White, unprecedented bad calls. But when you have a team that has an offense that is ostracized and absent, a defense that disappears, and then turnovers in a record amount of rate, and a referee that's slanted. What's the key to keeping this team focused? Because on the opposite side of that terrible description is they spread the ball. Tatum plays defense, gets everyone else involved. With one guy's down, the next guy's up. We go from a super team of turbo, torrential terrificness to absolute crud, because when we get up by a double-digit point, we seem to lose our focus and fall apart. How do you address that problem?
Yeah, there's no room for errors when it comes to Golden State. You're literally talking about literally the Don Corleone of the NBA, even more so than LeBron, right? Because these guys have all kept it in La Familia, this Cosa Nostra thing of theirs, right? Where they're all born and raised there. I mean, for God's sakes, they have Jordan Poole now as the splash cousin, who's a G Leaguer, who is now probably who could be the lethal weapon for them off of the bench. So with Golden State, you have zero room for error, where with Miami, you knew that, okay, there's a PJ Tucker out there that's going to miss some shots, or Kyle Lowry has kind of disappeared from this whole scenario. That's not Golden State. How do you answer for Andrew Wiggins, who's rejuvenated and not having to be the star of the team? You've got Steph Curry, who is in his mid-30s but playing like a mad scientist, So, and then Klay Thompson has recovered from his injury. That's pretty much similar to what KD had. And now here he is coming back, and then Draymond Green brings that energy and the controversy, like a Dennis Rodman who can make baskets. They're still a very dangerous team. They say the last thing you want to do is make an old dog mad, because they'll bite, because they've known how to bite their whole life. That would be the equivalent of the Celtics losing focus against this team. Man, thanks for the call, Paul. Always love your questions when you call here late night. Anytime, brother.
Thanks, bud.
You got it. Let's hear from Coach Ime about his thoughts on going up against Golden State.
Ime, obviously, it's, like you said, significant achievement for these guys that have been through it. And now you're playing a team that kind of is accustomed to being at this level. How do you guys ensure, and what will the challenges be to ensure that, you're not satisfied with just this part, and that there is that bigger step to take?
Yeah, it would be all for naught if we go lay an egg in the finals, and we understand that. Guys were quick to celebrate, but quick to flip the page and say, we got 4 more. We don't hang or celebrate Eastern Conference championships in the Celtic organization. So we all fall in line and appreciate that standard of excellence. And so playing for championships, we're here now trying to finish the deal. And we played Golden State pretty well this year. Obviously beat them pretty bad late in the season when we were kind of rolling early in the season. Took a close loss, and we had some guys in and out, and they had a big lead early, but we fought our way back. So story of the season, we've competed well against the best teams, and obviously you have to do that to make it to this point now. So very confident going in. I know it's another tough challenge. I think Miami will help prep us for some of the off-ball actions and the shooters that they had. But we know it's a high-level team, executing team. It has a ton of great shooters, great players overall, guys I know well, and we're ready for the challenge.
So it's important to know, because everybody says, they shoot the three very well. That was absolutely true. But there's a lot of things that Golden State does very well that they don't get credit for, especially on the defensive end. But there's also some deficiencies that play into the Celtics. So I'm going to give you the things that the Warriors do well, top 10 wise across the league, and then what opponents do very well against them. And it tells you exactly what the Celtics would need to do. So for the Warriors, they are top 10 in field. They're 10 in field goal percentage, right? That makes sense. They're number 3 in three-pointers, both taken and made. Their three-point percentage is 8th in the league. 2-point percentage, 3rd in the league. 2nd in defensive rebounds. 7th in total rebounds. 5th in assists. 4th in steals. So that's a small team that can move around and can get rebounds to get outlets going. So they want to play the transition. We're not really talking a half-court team like Miami. So this is a team that doesn't want you to offensive rebound, or they want you to take one shot and get the ball rolling, and they want the fast action to happen. Understandable. Now, here's where opponents have been in the top 10 against the Warriors, and it's interesting. Number 2 in field goals. Now, that's because of the high scoring. That's probably that way. Field goal attempts, number 9. That goes to the high scoring as well. Field goal percentage. Opponents were number 2 in the league. 3-point percentage, number 3. 2-pointers, number 2. 2-point attempts, number 8. 2-point percentage, number 2. Free throw percentage, number 5. Offensive rebounds, number 6. Defensive rebounds, 8. total rebounds 5th, assists 2, blocks 2. Take them to the hole. Take them to the hole. Make them defend because they're a smaller built team. The biggest mistakes that I believe that the Celtics can make is to get fascinated with a 3-point fest. You will not out 3-point them. You're not going to do that. But you have an ability to out rebound them, to beat them in the paint, to make them defend, right? Because things happen in the paint. You know, a little hoop in the harm. Thompson's got to come out. He's got 3 fouls. Really? Who does that help? Now, I will say this. I believe the Celtics will win in 7. But they must. The Celtics must win game 1. Here's why. If they lose game 1, then they're forced to try and win game 2 because somewhere you're going to have to win a game on the road to win the series. Better to do it early, like homework. Do your homework right after school, right? Because this is when the memory of the work is fresh of what you've learned. The Celtics must win game 1. Because if they're trying so hard to win game 2, trying to play catch up and not go down 2-0, now you're talking about a team that has no experience in the NBA Finals and have to fly back cross country to play game 3 and have to win that game. So there's a double pressure where you win game 1, whatever happens in game 2 is okay. It may even allow you to better prepare yourself from a rest perspective for game 3. So if Celtics win game 1, game 2 might be a Golden State Warrior blowout. I would not freak out because that will give a chance for players to rest and say, you know what? You've done the job. You got 1 on the road. Now all you have to do is hold serve. Because these are like the longest possible flights you can take is in this series. All right, here's Jaylen Brown, who I thought actually might have been really the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals. But I understand why you give it to Jason Tatum if you can't figure that out. Watch Winning Time, the HBO special about the Lakers when they first ascended in 1980. How Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the star of that series, but because Magic was the star of that final game, you know, there was so much attention on him. And that's why Justin, I'm still trying to I understand the salute to Kobe, but I mean, like, literally, like, I'm sorry, like, having Lakers apparel on top of a Celtics jersey or it felt like I was just watching someone running around with a booger in their nose and just want to say something.
Was pretty cool, though, because he mentored him. I thought it was pretty cool.
Put it on your shoes. Put it on your sock. Don't put.
I think I would have been more bothered by like green, purple, and yellow shoes, though.
But you wouldn't know. I mean,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Or even put the wristband like on your leg, or your ankle. You know, but like to put it so prominently to run around, like.
Or you could have just gone like a neutral color. Like
I'd love to call Cedric Maxwell. And be like, okay, man, just man to man. I'll never take it to the stage. How did it feel seeing a Celtic wearing Laker garb running around there? I mean, I get it. Like if you really wanted for us to get it, wear the Kobe number 8. Put the number 8 because at least that's not the Kobe that beat the Celtics in the 2010 NBA Finals. You're 5 minutes away from the debut, the world premiere of Get That Ring, the latest parody regarding the Celtics. But Jaylen Brown, as I was saying, I believe was the reason why the Celtics were able to maintain any type of lead they had in Game 7, starting the game. He was aggressive. He put up 40 points a couple of games ago. But here's him talking about getting prepared for Golden State.
Jaylen, this is kind of the first time since 2008 that you guys can do something about the blank banner, banner 18, so to speak. What's kind of your thought process there?
Just a great opportunity. This is what all the work that you put in your whole life for is to be in these moments, to get to play in the finals, to represent not just the organization, but your family, your community, your extended community. It doesn't get too much better than that. So we got to embrace it, but also embrace the challenge because we're playing a team that's been there, done it before. And if we expect to win, we got to come with our A game.
Yeah, and I give it to these players. They've heard a lot. If you've joined the show at the top of the hour, it was kind of really taking you back to just all the noise that surrounded the Celtics from last season and what was it going to look like this year and who they were choosing for their coach. Think of all the people who were screaming for Chauncey Billups to get that job or Sam Cassell. But Ime Udoka has this team in the NBA Finals in his first year where the team was below 500 at the start of the calendar year. I mean, I was one of them just trying to figure out, like, hey, maybe Marcus Smart is an ideal trade piece to a Western Conference team that would have to think about, okay, who do we get to defend Steph or to defend Ja Morant or to put on Chris Paul to help a team get over the hump? Ime stayed the course. I give it to him. I give it to him tremendously. I've always, from day one, said I see something in this guy that says he's going to make these players accountable. He's going to get them to at least care about their craft. It's very easy when you're a superstar. And this is what, all these NBA players have been playing basketball their whole life. And for all their life, pretty much until they get to the NBA, and even it leaks into the NBA for some players. Who's ever told them no? Who's ever told Jason Tatum not to take the shot in high school? I'll show you a coach who's screaming 10 on 6. You know what that is, Justin? That's $10 on pump 6. That's what they're doing if you did that. Now 10 on 6 would be like you click it once and then you have to unclick it. Like that's how fast gas goes into the tank. But yeah, a lot of these players have never been told about themselves, have had a mirror held up to them. It's a law of power that, the mirror effect. If you want someone to understand their deficiencies instead of screaming at them from the other side, just hold up a mirror. Let them see it themselves. And that's what he did. Hey, you guys take bad 3-point shots. You see what happens. When the ball doesn't go down, we don't have a chance to get rebounders there. Teams get into fast break. I mean, he told all this stuff to the media. And make him accountable. I mean, at one point, remember when Marcus Smart made his comments about, Jalen and Jason need to learn how to pass. Paraphrasing. This was a real thing at one time in a not so distant past. It's this season. But these guys stuck through it. When you hear them say they went the hardest route, absolutely. You beat KD and Kyrie, who were supposed to be the coordinated saviors of the East. Then you beat the NBA champions. Then you beat the number 1 seed in your conference in a row. Unbelievable. So with everybody talking about how do we get Banner 18 filled out, I think will happen and will be the start of something very great. On KJ and Dondero yesterday, Mark said something I thought was almost fascinating. He says, this series with the Warriors and the Celtics reminds him a lot of the Lakers Bulls series of 91, where the Lakers are 10 years now deep into the brand name, even though the team may not be as good as the brand. People didn't expect them to be in the finals. And on the eastern side of the conference is this team called the Bulls that have now finally gotten over the hump against the Pistons. So, I haven't done a parody song in a while because if you do it all the time, then everybody expects you to do that all the time. But this one's a good one. It's called Get That Ring. This is for the Celtics. Let's effing go. Hit it, Justin. Take the heat and Greek Freak and KD. Wow. Take down Steph and the refs. Championship now. Beat the heat and Greek Freak and KD. Wow. Oh my God. Finally, the Celtics are in the NBA Finals. The LeBron years over. The bubble over. The fighting over. Danny Ainge over. Championship, here we come. Get that ring, another title for the C's. 18th banner in the Garden is what fans want to see. Get that ring, another title for the C's. 18th banner in the Garden is what fans want to see. A dozen years have gone since the chance for 18. This team was heading for failure, or at least it seemed. With bogus clowns like Kyrie or Kemba and Gordon's knees. Marcus Smart's obsession with taking threes. Get that ring, the Celtics, you'll belong with Ime as your leader. Yeah, you can't go wrong. The fans are behind you, even Angry Lou. So bring home that trophy, that's what you can do. Because get that ring, another title for the C's. 18th banner in the Garden, what fans want to see. Get that ring, another title for the C's. 18th banner in the Garden, what fans want to see. 18th ring. Come on, C's. Come on, C's. 18th ring. What a classic series. Warriors, Celtics, history, NBA at its finest. Let's go, C's. Beat the Heat and Greek Freak and KD. Wow. Take down Steph and the refs. Championship now. Beat the Heat and Greek Freak and KD. Wow. Take down Steph and the refs. Championship now. Get that ring. That's all the fan base wants. You like that one, Justin? A little dance. It's a danceable tune.
It was really upbeat, and you know how honored I am to have the first night of us working together again, and I get a parody.
And you get a parody. I don't know if this was like a makeup gift because we hadn't been together. You know, okay, let me clarify that. We hadn't worked together in a while. You know, people start rumors. You know, hey, did you hear a late night show? I think the two of them used to be involved. Yes, we used to be involved working together at this time. But if you want to hear something crazy, and this series actually means a lot to me. If there's a second team that I have a deep history for and appreciation for, it's the Golden State Warriors. It was the Golden State Warriors that my father sat me down to show me. A guy who would end up being a graduate who graduated from my college, a guy named Al Adams. And Al Adams is like president emeritus now with the Golden State Warriors. He's been there, but he was one of the, with Russell winning the title as being the first black head coach winning a major professional organization's team as a head coach, player coach. Al Adams was like the first who wasn't a player coach. He was just the coach. And Al Adams is somebody that I've always admired as an alum at my school. I've shared here on the air that I remember meeting and being around Steph and Seth Curry when they were like 8 and 6 from a station I worked at in Charlotte with their father, Dell. And so there's always this affinity that I have for the Curry family. And the Chant Warriors come out to play. I actually have a friend and a mentor who was literally in the movie Warriors in one of the gangs. But that doesn't mean a damn thing. I still want the Celtics in 7. All that heartbreak soliloquy, all that heart-loving soliloquy stuff, right? No. I seriously believe that the Celtics, who can win this game in 7 by having the advantage with the size, making Steph Curry defend wing players, Marcus Smart being able to, because their big players are small, you could see Marcus Smart starting to check Andrew Wiggins and be effective. And that would be it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be some enjoyable basketball. But the Celtics have to win game 1. You have to get that first round knockout in there, because automatically to win the series, you got to win a game on the road. And the best one to do it is the very first one. Like I tell people here on the station, like the best time to win tickets to, like when we do Red Sox, like 2 for Tuesdays, like get the early tickets. Like be at the station like early. You know, trying to try at the very last try. I mean, it's great you get to try, but you're there early. You can get stuff done. All right, we wrap up late night here next here on WEEI with KJ. Thank you so much for hanging out.
The Celtics are the boss.